I'm Joseph, founder of C.A.R.E Network Realty, and I'm going to tell you a story. It's going to be pretty hard to hear sometimes, but I want you to know that it's a story of success. It's a story of adversity. It's a story of overcoming that adversity with character and endurance. So thanks for watching. So I started the C.A.R.E Network really because of a painful journey. It started when I was 3, or before that. My mother gave me up for adoption from an abusive situation. That adoption didn't go much better. By the time I was 6 and 7, I was kidnapped, parentally taken through a cross-country trip from Texas to Minnesota. I wasn't allowed to go to school, and it ended up with me being locked in a room like Harry Potter under the stairs. So it wasn't long until they couldn't handle me. I was out of control. So they didn't send me back to my adopted dad. They sent me to my mother. Well, as you can imagine, it wasn't long until the Department of Human Services got involved. And sometime later, there was a guardianship hearing to determine who was the legal guardian of this child. I was 8 years old. It was 1986. No one showed up to that hearing. It was then I officially became a ward of the state. From there, I went to 40 plus foster homes, shelters, group homes, children's homes. It wasn't until I ended up at Goodwill Hinckley, homeschool farm for boys and girls, that I really began to make the change. They had a great foundation and building blocks for education and personal development. But also, I started to develop strong relationships, specifically with Dan and Lisa McGowan, loving Christian role models and house parents that treated me fairly, which was nice. I'd like to say that everything went great from the time that I left Hinckley, but even after that, I was going down a path that was destructive and that I just knew that I couldn't continue. This came to a point when I was in my early 20s, when I was at a really low point. And it was then that I knew that I was either going to go down a path where I had already seen some of the kids I grew up with in jail or dead, or I was going to make the decision to make something positive of my life. And it was then that I took the attitude of accountability and ownership, and that if I was going to do it, it was only going to be me. So I straightened up, and I was hanging around Dan and Lisa McGowan more. And so I got to see Hinckley from a different side of what I had seen as a student. Well, it wasn't long that Hinckley lost their funding, lost their funding, sent all the kids back to foster care, and the school shut down. And that was traumatic for me. I just couldn't understand how after 120 years, a school like this would close. I mean, this is 2,500 acres. This is 36 buildings. There's a lot of people here, staff and students. And I saw that it was the mismanagement. It was always having to beg and borrow money to stay afloat. Bad fiscal policy, essentially. So it was my goal to create a company that offered that safety of funding in perpetuity for kids. And what we've developed is C.A.R.E Network. That way, we have a successful, profitable business that's funds are designed specifically to fund an orphanage in perpetuity. So that's how I came up with C.A.R.E Network Realty. I've failed a few times, but I'm not going to give up. And this time we've got the right people, the right systems and models, and the right experience to bring this to market. Would you join our cause? Would you help us make a difference? This is Joseph with C.A.R.E Network Realty. Please subscribe and like our social media and content, and thanks for listening.